So in this lesson, we're going to take a look at composition of functions, another function operation that uses the output from one function as the input for the second function. This operation is called composition of functions. So we use the notation of an open circle, so make sure to remember that this is not multiplication. This open circle means that we're going to plug g into the f function. So we're going to input what we get from g into that f function. So the first one that's written there is kind of the one that you're going to be using the form of, and then the second one that they name is the one you're going to be inputting it into, inputting that into. Okay, so we'll take a look. It'll make a little more sense once you kind of see it. So composition, we have an open circle. So let's go ahead and note that we have an open circle. And so that's read f of g of x. So it's kind of like, hey, let's use this f function. Let's plug in g and see what we get. So be careful not to confuse the notation for multiplication with composition. All right, we are not multiplying. We are substituting one function into the other. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look down here. You can use algebraic expressions as well as numbers as inputs into functions. The rule for f of g of x, substitute the rule for g into f. So we're going to take this g and we're going to put it in to the f function. So we are substituting function g into function f. G going into f. So I'm going to go ahead and write out the f function and then plug the g in. Kind of like this is the player and this is that game. So let's write out our function, our game, and then our g is going to be plugged into it. 2x is going to plug in. And then we simplify. All right, let's take a look at number 2. So plug in the g into the f. So write out the f function and then plug g in and then simplify. 2x plus 2 when we distribute, 2 times 1, 2, and then we're going to combine those like terms right here. And so 2x plus 5. All right, so 3, we're going to write out that f function. Instead of x, we're going to be putting a set of parentheses. Okay, so in our function, kind of leave that spot open for f to replace that x. So now we plug in our g into that spot where the x is, substituting that function g into function f. Now be careful because we are squaring a binomial, 2 terms here that are separated by a subtraction symbol, which means we write it twice and we need to FOIL. So first, x times x, outer, negative 5x, inner, negative 5x, last, negative 5 times negative 5, positive 25. Bring down the plus 4. And then we'll just combine all those like terms. X squared minus 10x, and then 25 and 4 is 29. All right, so now we are going to see g of f of x, which means we're going to plug f into the g function. All right, so let's go ahead and write out our g function. So g is the one that we're going to plug f into. So g is this one, 4, leave a space, plus 3, plug the f into it. So 3x minus 4. And then we're going to distribute. So 12x minus 16 plus 3, and then combine your like terms, the 16 and the 3, to get negative 13. All right, so go ahead and do this one. You're going to do the g function, write this one out, and then plug in. So take a minute and try that one. You are going to do some foiling. Push pause, try it, and then check when you're ready. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to square it, then we'll multiply by the 2 because we do exponents before we do multiplication. So we're going to have our x squared minus 3 twice. And then we will FOIL this. So first x to the 4th, x squared times negative 3 is negative 3x squared. Inner negative 3x squared again, negative 3, positive 9. So I'm going to take this whole thing, that's a plus. Let's combine our like terms, and then we'll multiply everything by 2. So that's x to the 4th minus 6x to the 2nd plus 9. That I want to take and multiply or distribute this 2 to everything. So 2x to the 4th minus 12x squared plus 18, and then we're going to subtract that 3 as our final step. And there we go. So on these last two, what we're going to do is we're going to be working backwards. Get a little more room. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug 4 into G and then that into F. Okay? So let's go ahead and we're going to use our G, plug 4 into G first. That's our first step. So G of 4. What do we get? Well, there's G, and we're going to plug a 4 in. So we get 6. So now what we're going to do is this value will go into the f of x. Plug this one in. So it's going to be f of 6. And then that looks like, and we'll continue this, parentheses squared plus 2, parentheses plus 3, and we're plugging that 6 in. So 6 squared, 36. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 3, so add all that up from left to right, 51. All right, so if you want to try this next one on your own, go for it. You're going to plug 3 into F and then that answer into G, whatever you get as a result. So plug in for F, plug your 3 in. So 6 minus 3 is 3. We're going to plug this into G of x. So you should have G of 3, and that is going to be 3 squared, which is 9.